Okay, guys, I'm back. As you know, we picked that. So there's only two of these cards in the whole deck. So if you're lucky, you can get this. And what I was going to say before was that's why you're never going to know. I always want to give that element of surprise, that randomness, that you could luck out and get one. However, you could get this one, and this is one I wrote called "Lair of the Shadow Dweller." And let's move this over here now so you can see. And I created like sub monsters in this game. And there's shadow dwellers are these spiders, these huge spiders. Some are small, some are actually huge. There's plague rats, doomclaw scorpions, and blackrock vipers. And that so in this, and of course I wrote a little setup story for you. And Lair of the Shadow Dweller. As this hero proceeds forward, a loud crack is heard beneath their feet. Within seconds, the floor collapses and plummets this hero straight down into a shadow dweller lair. So you picture it, your hero's here. I get very thematic, guys. So he was here, and maybe the floor broke out, Kaladar's trap, and he fell down, and he's strung up in this thick webbing, and a shadow dweller is coming at him. Okay? As the hero looks up, a massive shadow dweller is about to strike. Test strength 15. On a success, the hero breaks free of the web, grabs her weapon, and slays the creature. On a fail, roll 1d3. Result is damage taken. This test must be repeated until the hero succeeds, thus ending his turn. So the thing with traps is this. If you pass, if you have a success, you can keep going with your movement. It's all good. However, like for this one, and there's very different ones in there, this spider, picture that your hero's stuck in this web, or this is the way I envision it. He's stuck in this web, and this spider is going to keep biting him. So let's do this. Let's see if you can get out of this web. Coming over here to the awesome dice tray by Paulo. Okay, so what we're going to have to do is we'll put this here, and let's get a d20, and we'll get a d3 in case he doesn't make it. However, I feel very confident because the barbarian is, well, he's only level 1, right now. Heroes go up to level 3. But if we take a look at his hero card, that's strength there. So he's got 3. He can add to this roll. And of course the card says 15. So as long as we score a 12 or better, he can get out of this. So let's see what happens. No. Okay, so he only had a 6. 6 and 3 is 9. So if you picture it, the shadow dweller comes down and bites him. Roll a d3. 1. So we're going to come over to his hero card and move it down to 11. We're going to have to repeat the test. Remember, he's still stuck. So I always try to, one of the things was important was, of course, with Dean, is to give you, like in the encounter cards, some cool art. I want you guys to visualize what, the story I'm trying to set up for you. So, imagine this thing's, bit him, and now he's going to try again to break free and get to his sword. 14, and that's a success. 14 and 3 is 17. So he breaks free, pulls his sword, and just slices this shadow dweller in half, and there's like green ooze coming out, and blood, and sorry, I get into this. So, but then, as you see, that's going to end this turn. He ends there. And so I'll show you, I want to keep these a surprise. I've shown you guys a lot of stuff, but I'll give you a few more. Well, I'm not going to go over them all, but this is a very cool one. Dean, again, I asked Dean to make this is a little surprise. That's an ancient guardsman. That's going to be in the expansion. That I have this themed monsters for all the dungeon boards, and that right there is an ancient guardsman with the horns coming out and that big bastard sword, and the blade is tainted. So the little story is that this hero hears something down the hall. It's a woman's scream, a blood-curdling scream, and he turns around, and this ancient guardsman slips out the door and is coming at him. So there's one. Oh, this is a good one here. This was a fun one to write. So if you see, the little setup story is that this mist, this thick like mist, is covering the corridor of the dungeon, and this hero is walking, but he doesn't see the spikes. So it's called watch your step, and you're going to have to test willpower to be able to see the spikes, see through the mist without stepping on it. And all these test different attributes. I'll give you a few more, and this is a very cool one. I actually really like this one. The Viper and the Gold. So I asked Dean to create a Black Rock Viper, we just talked about. And so this hero is walking down the hall of the corridor, and he sees a pouch of gold. So, he reaches out for it, and a massive Black Rock Viper comes out and is about to strike. And on this one, you have to test agility. You have to be fast enough to grab it and smash its head against the wall. If not, it's going to do some major damage. But then, if you don't, you actually manage to pull a dagger and kill it. So you got to be really quick and get it. And one more, the classic. I hope you're enjoying these. The Pit and the Pendulum. And this is, of course, the hero's walking, and the setup story is that they're walking and they hear a big swoosh behind them, and you're going to have to test evade to miss the pendulum. So there you go. There's tons more of traps for you. And I think a lot of you guys know that my favorite game in the whole wide world is the 80s Dungeon Quest. And so kind of like, I created, of course, my own traps. There's probably a few of them, like the pendulum and that, but a lot of them are very unique. But it was a tip of that hat to that game because I wanted to give people my own kind of death trap dungeon, and so that was it. I played that game growing up. So the Tomb of Cawdor might be actually a little harder than Dungeon Quest. Some people might be quivering at the sound of that. But it's a tough board, but it's going to be a great deal of fun. Okay, so now what we're going to have to do is clean up this area, and we're going to talk about loot. But I hope you liked that little reveal we had, and you enjoyed the traps. And I try to keep a tidy game area here. One more second. And actually, I do have another reveal for you. Oops, sorry. Okay, so the thing is, and I just showed this, if you follow the Dungeon Crusade Facebook page, you saw this last night. And this is Albus. Maybe some of you don't know this, and I'm going to post a storyboard at the end of this video, and you can pause it and read the story I wrote. But in that land of Avalon, so I put this here real quick. I hope you guys like the lore about this. That dogs were a big part of everyday life before the Dark Age hit, before the monsters came. And there's fetch hounds. And fetch hounds were used for different things. Like, they would, as we move over here and I try to keep it steady, like they would run, they were like messengers, and they would take maybe supplies to neighboring villages, maybe like from Mistvale to Hunter's Watch. They would accompany hunters on hunting expeditions. A lot of the dungeons were actually for mining, and there was other things used before, monsters inhabited them. And fetch hounds would bring food and aid and water to the miners. Well, when the Dark Age hit, because this is called Genesis of Evil, up here in Salemport, right there, there's a champion bloodline of fetch hounds, and Albus was chosen to accompany the heroes. Because you see, when you play Dungeon Crusade, there's a thing called Celebration Day, and I think we have that deck here. When the heroes complete their quests, they go back to the village for Celebration Day. And then they could, that's when they level up. They can buy gear, potions, torches. And there's all kind of play in the House of Chance. There's that gambling hall where you can win more gold, and I assure you, you might need that sometimes. But the thing is, when you're within the dungeon, you don't leave. There's no going out of this dungeon back to the village to, have some R&R. The villagers, you're there to protect them and save them, and they're not kosher with heroes just going out to, hang out in the village. You're there to do a job. That's where Albus comes in. Albus is your link to the village. Okay? And I haven't showed this before. Here's like kind of like the world debut of Albus's hero card. So there's Albus. And know something that Albus can never be hurt, harmed. Nothing can ever happen to Albus. Monsters simply ignore him. Okay? And so here is Albus's hero card for you. Sean Ellis, thank you. I gave him my prototype of making a hero card. And of course, Freddie Lopez, he didn't kill me for all the revisions I had on Albus. Freddie did an amazing job with exactly how I wanted Albus. And we can see that Albus can carry weapons here. There's like a little, I don't want to get too close. He can carry potions. Then he has like a little inventory thing. And what's cool is that Albus can level up just like the heroes can. If you pay 6 life force, remember these are the life force tokens, you can level him up to level 2. So let's say at level 1, he can carry 3 consumables, which are things like healing potions. That's actually a little reveal for you. There's the healing potion token. Elixirs, torches, things like that. We can see that his speed is D6 plus a 6. And he can carry 2 items. Would be like, swords, armor. He's not, he has to be leveled up to carry more stuff, to be more stronger, more faster. And he can carry up to 1,000 gold with him back to the village. I am going to have to pause this, and we're going to come back, and we're going to show you him leveled up, and then get to the loot. So I will be right back with you.